A very good evening to you all and welcome to News Tonight here on UBC TV this Thursday, the second day of April 2026. We're coming to you live online and on air from Broadcasting House here on Nile Avenue. I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Police have arrested a 39-year-old suspect who allegedly gained access to an early childhood development center in Gaba and brutally murdered 4 toddlers. The incident has left parents devastated and raised urgent questions about the safety of children in care centers. Authorities say investigations into the motive are ongoing. Here's our reporter Evan Kahwa with a detailed story.
4 toddlers have been killed by stabbing at Gaba Early Childhood Development Center. It is alleged that the prime suspect, Christopher Okello Onyum, aged 39, a resident of Noya district, allegedly gained access to the premises and attacked the children, killing 4 of them. Preliminary information suggests that the suspect had visited the center 2 days prior to the incident.
Seeking for admission, and he was told to go back to the school today, where what he did, he actually also paid for the admission, and after that proceeded and attacked these children.
At the time of the attack, 14 toddlers were present at the facility. 10 survived and were safely evacuated and handed over to their parents.
We deeply condole and sympathize with the families that have lost these very young children whose future has been cut short by an unknown person whose motive is still unknown.
Now a team of scene of crime officers is already on ground to obtain any form of other piece of evidence that could be very important in solving the equation of this incident. Now 3 children were pronounced dead upon arrival in the hospital, while 1 body was retrieved from the school where the incident occurred.
They have been identified as Odeke Ryan, a 1 year and a 1.5-year-old male. There is Eteko Gideon, 2.5-year-old. There is Keisha Alungat, 2 years. There is Ignatia Seruyange, also 2.5 years.
Zembera Munyonyo nezirukimsino ku boda nzigenda bekibaddewo n'ekyensanze nga baŋŋamba abange bali safe gye bali eri nenga ku lwange kwogera ku bya security kyenyiza okulowooza nti muweereza wa Mukama Pastor Kasiriivu kwongeramu security wano.
Police apprehended the suspect as angry residents attempted to attack him. Security agencies fired bullets in the air to disperse the crowd.
Tukyotuuseeko kyolabirako ddala osobola okugamba nange bamumpe muli obunyama kuba ekikola kyakoze kibi nnyo kyantiisa. Watusanze emirambo wali eri emisaayi egijjudde abaana bafiiridde mu bulumi bw'amaanyi. Kati naawe n'obwobeera ggwe osobola onyiigamuko n'ogamba bamumpe muyuzeyuze. Era senga kubaddeko mutabani wange ndowooza nange leero we nandifudde.
Ntemu ayingidde asaza abaana ensingo bubi nnyo baana mwaka gumu ku 2. eziddole zibadde ziguddeyo ebyokuzanyisa byabwe omusaayi guli mu luggya wonna ne poliisi yandituuse n'esooka n'ennoonyereza kizze kitya kituuseewo kiteetuse mu kuba abantu basatu
bulago nagenda bafumita n'asala n'omulala n'asala n'ampoera.
Residents and parents rushed to the scene upon receiving the devastating news. Many expressed shock, stating that they had left their children at the center earlier in the day as part of their normal daily routines.
nga kiyambako nnyo okulekawo kuba oba tolina woleka mwana than osinga omuleka ewaka nodda nga alina byakoze ewaka obadde omuleeta n'abeera waneno n'asiibawo bulungi n'omusanga nga ali seefu n'omukwata n'omuzza ewaka nga just obadde oleeta ngoye ne bagamba leeta omwana n'oleeta engoye nga otandikira ku mwaka gumu bana bibadde bakuuma bamukuleke n'obalekera n'ogenda n'okula n'okoma naye at the end of the month n'obawayo 13 kyekirungi ky'essomero lye libadde lituyamba mu kitundu kyaffe
One of the parents, Mama Daniela, crying, they took her. That's it. One of the person who lost the kid.
So you said you are teaching, your school is neighboring this school where the incident occurred.
This one has it.
So how is your security in your school, which is a neighbor to this one here?
For me, they are day scholars. We don't have boarding, and people stop at 2.
Police say investigations are ongoing to establish the motive behind the attack. In a related development, authorities are also pursuing suspects involved in a robbery at the Centenary Bank on Nkuruma Road.
We registered a robbery along that road, Nkuruma. Yes, and our teams are still investigating, and efforts are still ongoing to have the suspects arrested.
Very, very sad incident there, and may the souls of those little ones rest in eternal peace. Now, the government of Uganda has launched the first ever locally manufactured diagnostic test kits for HIV/AIDS, malaria and sickle cell. The Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, officiated at the inaugural launch and reiterated that this marks a major step towards achieving the country's health sovereignty and reducing the importation of medical supplies. We have more in this story.
The 3 unveiled locally manufactured diagnostic kits include those for HIV/AIDS, malaria and sickle cell. This initiative falls under the Buy Uganda Build Uganda program, with government support extended to the proprietors of Microhem Scientifics.
Produces locally. I want to emphasize this. We save foreign exchange. We create jobs. He already talked about this. We promote innovation and strengthen our industries in line with our policies. The Bubu Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policies.
While launching these innovations, the Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, assured the country that this trend will enhance import substitution within the health sector.
Local manufacturing, we are taking control of our future and ensuring our health system remains functional even amidst global uncertainty. And so external funding is no longer guaranteed. Countries that depend heavily on foreign aid risk disruption in essential services. This is what true resilience looks like.
Currently, Uganda imports up to 99% of its health supplies, which undermines its financial sovereignty and exposes it to external price fluctuations.
Using and integrating these high-quality diagnostic kits into our national health system, we are taking a bold step towards health sovereignty. Because currently Uganda imports, like other speakers have said, nearly 99% of the health products, exposing us to global price fluctuations and the supply chain disruptions.
Statistics show that Uganda uses approximately 30 million malaria kits and 15 million HIV test kits annually, all of which were being imported.
The Ministry of Health has commended this development and confirmed that the newly launched products will be deployed in all government hospitals.
Kits are already being procured and distributed through the national medical stores, Right Honourable Prime Minister, to our facilities across the country. This marks a significant and historic step forward.
Government has committed to supporting the consumption of locally made products under the Buy Uganda Build Uganda initiative, provided the producers maintain the required standard.
Our policies, procurement and regulatory systems favor them while maintaining the highest quality standards. Made in Uganda must always mean quality, reliability and trust.
We'll integrate these diagnostic kits into our national procurement system based on their proven effectiveness and reliability.
The proprietor of Macrohem Scientifics, Cedric Akwesije, applauds the government for its support in achieving this milestone in local production.
The entire budget of Ugandan money has been allocated to us. We have manufactured, we have delivered, we have all these people you see here. 90% of them are from hospitals, from laboratories. We have trained them, we have shown them how to do this, and they are using products made here. From each hospital is using.
Government is cognizant of the changing global health financing landscape, which is becoming increasingly unreliable, and it plans to continue supporting local innovations aimed at solving national health challenges. Abudunasele Lubwama for UBC.
Now, the Uganda Land Commission has handed over certificates of freehold titles to 2,120 beneficiaries in Rwampara district under the project of systematic land adjudication and certification. The process was witnessed by the Parliamentary Committee on Lands and the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. The beneficiaries in Bugamba County had for decades lived in fear until the government's intervention.
The government affirmative action through the project dubbed Systematic Land Adjudication and Certification continues to register progress in various areas. 2,120 lawful bona fide occupants on Block 15, Plot 10, Bugamba Sub-County in Rwampara District have secured their respective certificates of freehold title after government's intervention.
Namara Rogers, congratulations.
Now a new landlord in Rwampara.
The land previously owned by Ankole Kingdom Prince John Patrick Barije is now in the hands of the true landlords.
The four kingdoms were abolished. Our fathers, our parents used to pay money to the kingdom. After the abolition of the kingdoms, payment stopped. Our certainty remained unclear.
Uganda Land Commission and government advanced the SLAC project, and more beneficiaries are yet to receive their land title certificates.
I just have to be clear on this. The Uganda Land Commission does not ask for any further payments after this handover. If anyone contacts you claiming to need facilitation fees, processing fees, or any other payment related to your title, please report that person to the RDC or the police.
It's actually a very big challenge for us as a commission, because as I speak now,
We are indebted almost to a tune of about more than 500 billion. People have given us land, who have given government land, and they need to be paid. Some have been paid, others are partially paid, others we haven't started paying them. And we can only start on this process of titling, regularization, when we have cleared those obligations. So
residents have been urged to prioritize commercial agriculture and avoid land fragmentation.
This is a key NRM election manifesto pledge that has been sorted. Therefore, members, as you're aware, the NRM government brought us the parish development model, Ninga PDM. Kind under Pillar 1 of PDM, which is about production, storage, value addition, and marketing, landowners are expected to optimally use their land for production.
The process was witnessed by a section of members of parliament sitting on the Committee of Lands who assured the locals in Rampara district of continuous appropriation of resources to aid government projects.
This is a path towards fairness, stability, and inclusive development. This exercise is a testament to what can be achieved when leadership is a visionary, institutions are responsive, and citizens are empowered.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
The Uganda Law Society has raised concerns over what it describes as illegal deportations by the government, warning that such actions amount to a violation of human rights. The Vice President of the Uganda Law Society, Asimwe Anthony, emphasized the need for government to uphold the rule of law and respect human rights in all its actions. He noted that unlawful deportations undermine justice and due process, calling on authorities to ensure that all legal procedures are followed.
As of today morning, we filed the necessary court papers. We started with the court process, challenging this activity. And as you are aware, we've been making noise about the willingness of our courts to serve humanity, to deliver justice. And this being an urgent matter, we hope our courts, our judiciary will take keen interest and have these matters fixed and adjudicated upon with the urgency they deserve. It will be as if whatever we're doing, we're wasting time, yet these institutions are there to provide redress in such scenarios like this one. So we do implore the courts to ensure that this is expedited and we achieve what we're supposed to achieve. We still commit to continue fighting these vices, especially in this day and era where we must consider our 4 days, one of it being demilitarization, because this is really an action that points to that, nothing else. This is Uganda. It does not belong to individuals or specific people. It is our country. These are human beings we are dealing with. They are not chattels, they are not items, and they should be, or they must be treated with dignity. So we must demand accountability.
The National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, in collaboration with the Judiciary of Uganda, has unveiled plans to establish a dedicated High Court division to handle environmental cases. The move is aimed at strengthening prosecution and fast-tracking the disposal of environmental-related cases by the end of the year. The revelation was made during the launch of NEMA's ambitious 5-year strategic plan for the financial years 2025-2026 to 2029-2030.
The strategic plan 2025-2026 to 2029-2030 is intended to, among others, reduce degraded wetlands, increase compliance levels to 85%, expand environmental mainstreaming among lead agencies, enhancing farmer resilience to climate change, and reduce greenhouse emissions. The plans align with Uganda's long-term frameworks, including Vision 2040 and the National Development Plan 4, with a focus on environmental governance, ecological integrity, public awareness, and institutional strengthening, cross-cutting issues such as gender, climate change, innovation and ICT, disability inclusion, anti-corruption and HIV/AIDS have also been integrated into the plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, in doing so, we aim to ensure that Uganda's environmental governance, or the governance system, remains both credible domestically and respected internationally.
The implementation of the plan is expected to cost approximately 295 billion shillings, with the 270 billion expected from the government of Uganda, leaving a funding gap of 24 billion shillings. NEMA has since called on development partners to step in and support with the remaining gap, noting that government currently provides about 33% of the funding.
Environment management is often underfunded relative to its importance. Despite continuing government efforts to enhance financing of the environment sector, the scale of environment restoration and climate adaptation requires far greater resources than we have now.
The way we think is, how can we break down the silos so that we're not duplicating each other's work? How can we create synergies? And where are we finding gaps that we could work on together? And I think that very much speaks to part of the reason we're here today, which is to identify where are the gaps, where are the biggest blockers to progress.
Meanwhile, NEMA has revealed that they are working closely with the judiciary to advance the establishment of the Environmental Court by the end of the year. The Executive Director, NEMA, Dr. Kankwasa Barerega, says the planned court will significantly improve prosecution and timely disposal of environmental cases. He adds that the initiative will strengthen environmental justice and ensure offenders are held accountable more effectively.
The judiciary is also in the final stages of establishing a High Court division on environment matters, which we warmly welcome. I want to salute the Chief Justice and the judiciary in general and the government for thinking about enhancing and promoting environment justice in Uganda. Once we have efficiency and effectiveness in the dispensation of environment justice, environment will benefit greatly.
The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Water and Environment also called for joint stakeholder efforts in protecting the environment.
You will realize that these ATMs are all in environment anchored, and therefore environment and water will play a very critical role in Uganda's development towards the tenfold growth strategy.
Accordingly, the success of the new strategic plan will depend on strong partnerships between the government, judiciary, development partners, and the public. Susan Naung and Andrew Sebira reporting for UBC TV.
The government is set to train about 140 government officials and non-state personnel in a bid to transform Uganda's climate commitments from high-level policy into practical, data-driven reality. The Minister of Water and Environment Permanent Secretary, Dr. Alfredo Okidi, revealed this during a high-level strategic debrief on the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency Phase 2 project that aims to strengthen the country's climate data frameworks.
Uganda is stepping up its climate accountability game with a focus on accurate reporting of greenhouse gas data under the Paris Agreement. So far, Uganda has successfully implemented the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency, CBIT Phase 1, and is now transitioning to Phase 2, which includes non-state institutions in data collection.
To get a complete and honest picture of Uganda's emission, we can no longer rely on government data alone. We need a whole-of-nation approach, and therefore cooperation and capacity is core.
Under the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency, CBIT Phase 2 project, the ministry, in collaboration with African Innovation Institute, will invest in training 140 individuals, including government officials and non-state personnel, on standardized climate data reporting methods.
we have signed agreements which by extension give us obligations and commitments that we have to live up to. And those commitments means that a country has to work within the existing infrastructure, whether human resource, technical or financial, to try and deliver on the commitments that are signed within the Paris Agreement.
In all this, African Innovation Institute will provide technical expertise required to build a national greenhouse gas inventory that is not only compliant with the Paris Agreement, but suited to the Ugandan context.
By training the data provider, who is now the private sector or an NGO, alongside the regulator, who is in this case government, we eliminate the technical silos and ensure that everyone is speaking the same scientific language of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change.
And we have started discussion on formalizing a network of greenhouse gas professionals for Uganda. We want to keep these expertise together so that when there is need, we know the pool from which to get the technical support and guidance needed.
Valued at $1.5 million from the Global Environment Facility, GEF, and Conservation International, the CBIT2 project's success will enable Uganda to transition from high-level policy to practical, data-driven climate action, thus contribute to the country's climate commitments and sustainable development. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
Thanks, Dorcas, for that story there. Now, the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, in collaboration with NITA Uganda, has conducted a two-series digital literacy training program targeting youth with learning disabilities and persons with visual impairment. Take a watch.
Word and type what? The names here. Is that okay?
The training aims to equip participants with practical digital skills, knowledge, and a positive mindset to prepare them for integration into the workforce. Officials said digital skilling and technology innovation can improve livelihoods, promote entrepreneurship, and empower beneficiaries to become productive members of society.
First, create a blank document. We type some short sentences. And those sentences, each one will...
Some trainees have commended the government for introducing initiatives to address unemployment through digital skills and mindset change, saying the program has given them a second chance.
I request the government that if it is possible, let them make a center or centers in each village, that this center is for visually impaired people or people with a disability to be taught the ICT gadgets like computer, Victor Reader, and so on, because they have the ability of doing each and everything in their daily life than being analog, because even then they want to be digitalized in their daily life because of the world is under digital. We want to move from the other stage of analog and enter into digital system.
Community leaders and parents have been urged to stop isolating children with learning disabilities due to stigma and cultural beliefs, with stakeholders warning that such practices hinder their development. The ministry is calling for increased funding for digital devices and learning materials to expand the program implemented under the theme Digital Technology for Digital Transformation.
Sudat Kaye reporting there. The resident city commissioner for Kampala, Haji Mauya Lule, has directed the Kawempe Divisional Traffic Police Commander, Superintendent of Police Bruce Oinevye, to immediately begin arresting border raiders who hide their number plates or operate without visible registration. He also noted that a number of raiders operate without designated stages, making it difficult to regulate their movements.
According to the 2025 police crime report released earlier this week, Bodas account for 35% road accidents, making them the most involved in the category of vehicles. As part of efforts to reduce crime and road accidents, the chairperson of the Uganda Boda Drivers Association, Maweja Frank, is engaging riders and security agencies to find solutions to the ongoing challenges in the sector. However, Maweja raises concerns about persistent issues affecting the industry, including the presence of criminal elements masquerading as riders, lack of proper stages, and the practice of hiding number plates.
Omuntu ali ku stage oyo tasobola kutuusa ku musabaze bulabe ng'omusabaze amugye ku stage kuba bamanyi nti ajja kudda.
He has called on authorities to intensify enforcement and address these challenges.
They're just riding all over. They pick passengers. Sometimes passengers get issues and they have nowhere to report. Because someone picks you on a road, you don't know where to report. But when someone picks you from a stage, you can go back and say, so and so picked me from here. Probably they have robbed my money. And then the stage will be able to do what? To make a follow-up.
Kawempe Division Police Commander Hannington Kanimi urged Boda riders to cooperate with security agencies in order to curb crime and improve road safety.
Muri banji okusinga n'abapoliisi muri banji mutambula gye tutatuuka muri banji musobola naye bwe tuba tuli wamu nsuubira ngu obumenyi bw'amateeka tuyinza obujjawo.
Meanwhile, Traffic Police spokesperson SP Michael Kananura emphasized that Boda riders have the potential to significantly reduce accidents and crime if they adhere to traffic regulations and maintain discipline.
This alone is an achievement, RCC. If all these people seated here have elements, that alone, it satisfies my heart.
RCC Mawia Lule reiterated that the ongoing operations are aimed at improving security in the city. Mawia Lule said many of these riders are involved in criminal activities, including robbing passengers, partly because they cannot be easily identified. He also announced plans to launch an ambulance service to support victims of road accidents, as well as provide vehicles and motorcycles to individuals interested in joining the Boda business. Story compiled by Joseph Muyingo for UBC News.
Kampala city residents have commended government for enforcing the trade order, which they say has brought sanity in the city. They say that Kampala now looks like a modern city and that cases of petty theft have reduced.
Previously, these were the scenes in Kampala city, people selling from the streets and congestion. However, the face of Kampala city has since changed following a government directive last month to restore trade order in the city. The enforcement of this order involved clearing street vendors from unauthorized spaces, and indeed, results can be felt.
And it has lowered down the rate of crime, snatching people's bags, things like that.
Buli kintu kibaako ekibi n'ekirungi kubanga abantu abaagobwa ku kkubo baali banoonya nabo kyakulya.
People who were evicted from the streets were also searching for survival, but they were chased away. We know they could be suffering, but the city looks orderly.
Bo baagobebwa bali bawunuuna gye bawunuunira naye kati ekibuga kirabikako bulungi. Abatembeeyi bo bava.
You can no longer see vendors. The streets are clear.
Kati abantu batambula bulungi bonna beeyagala. Kanji akavuyo kaali kanji nnyo nga kati kwegamba ekkubo lyonna abatembeeyi bali singa ssaawa eno singa balizibye naye kati ssaawa.
Street vendors were blocking the roads, but now people can walk freely.
Kujjako kati ababbi be bakyalimu.
Wadde batugobaganya naye ng'ekibuga kinyirira kati olina w'otambulira ne bw'oba ofunye omusaabaze ofuna nga bw'olamuza balubyanza kati bakendedde ekibuga kirungi.
Street vendors were blocking the roads, but now people can walk freely. The city now looks good. Let KCC put in more efforts.
The purpose of the trade order is to remove street vendors from sidewalks and unauthorized public areas to ensure orderly trading, improve traffic flow and safety. Adia Nakute, UBC.
Yes, there is that saying that goes a luta continua, and of course the struggle continues to make sure that Kampala city goes to that standard that everybody, especially Ugandans, love about their city, not forgetting those people who come to visit us. News Tonight will now take a short break, but we'll be returning with much more. Do stay with us.
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Mama, kabalansi? Nkuwaire 15 Mama, nkuwaire 15. Abantu abakulu atandise obuyaayo mwena.
Obuyaayo obuliga. Ngobiyanko
ba. Sente dange nizade kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Now, leaders in Uganda's financial sector have called for stronger governance and sustainability ahead of the LEAD convention set for April 30th. The convention will host the East African professionals with an aim of boosting regional cooperation.
Organizations must adapt to growing risks, including climate change, global conflicts, and rapid technological shifts.
And what LEAD is looking at is to develop governance and sustainability within the Uganda and the East African region. And Central Bank sees this key as something that we need to partner with so that we can join in, drive everybody's attention towards proper governance, sustainability, making sure that tomorrow is available for us to be available here as a person, even available for the people that we shall eventually come when we're out of here.
The partnership is expected to promote governance and inclusive growth, especially through support to small and medium enterprises, women, youth, and agriculture.
And in this very volatile and uncertain world, it's important for us to be agile, to be learning continuously. And so this convention allows us to come together to hear the latest information in respect to those aspects like risk management or adapting to a very changing world, to learn from industry captains, from people that have gone ahead of us, from propagators of new ideas, and just generally share new information and ideas.
Capital Radio Group CEO Peter Jackson Mungoma says the media will play a key role in amplifying the outcomes of the convention.
For the last 30 years as a media house, and over the last 30 years, we've seen a huge growth in the media sector because we believe that everyone plays a role in amplifying the message of their clients. So we believe that even though Capital Radio is a lead sponsor, we believe that other media houses have a role to play because they serve audiences that are also part of the League of East African Directors. So we're happy to be part of other media houses.
For UBC News, I am Sudat Kaye.
Thanks, Kaye, for that story there. Now, Uganda is set to prioritize the participation of women in peace building ahead of the implementation of the Women, Peace and Security Agenda among member states. The Commissioner for Gender and Women Affairs at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Angela Nakafero, reveals that Uganda has contributed to peace-building missions in the Great Lakes region.
The implementation of the Women, Peace and Security Agenda in the member states under the International Conference on Great Lakes region has helped countries to make progress in women participation from ad hoc to structured platform of participation. This has been achieved through establishment of gender focal point networks, Women, Peace and Security Advisory Board and the Joint Coordination Committee. The International Conference on Great Lakes region came up with a second regional action plan on women, peace and security that focuses on results rather than activities.
Violated is not supported, becomes violent. Why? Because if people are abused, sexually abused, we know the common violation that is happening during the war, especially to the women and children, but even the men, most of them, they are abused, they are raped multiple times. So these people after the war, what next? Who is supporting them? So they need psychosocial counseling.
Gender Barometer is a strategy put in place to measure, track results and monitor the implementation of the Women, Peace and Security Agenda. Paul Kimonyo, the director, Levi Mwanawasa Regional Center, a think tank of the International Conference on Great Lakes region, explains some of the findings.
One is the level of representation of women in politics, in the corpus of the state has increased a lot across the region, but also in Uganda, of course. Think of cases of gender-based violence and sexual gender-based violence. It is increased quite a lot. And now we're not sure if it is the cases that's increasing or people are getting more courage, especially women, to come and report the cases. Nevertheless, we have to take the issue very seriously and look for mitigating measures.
Uganda is implementing the Women, Peace and Security Agenda through its National Action Plan 3, with 8 MDAs, each defining their operational plan. The country celebrates its contributions to peace missions and also hosting refugees and asylum seekers.
The conflicts in the neighboring countries impacts on the stability within Uganda. Another area I would want to point out is the fact that resources are shrinking. Previously, the refugees will be fully supported to stay in Uganda. We've prioritized promoting women's effective participation in peace building. Recently, Her Excellency, the Vice President of Uganda, has played a very critical role in mediating peace processes where women are participating.
Other issues to consider are collective coordination, incorporate local voices and also protect the civic space through getting rid of laws that limit civic social advocacy. I'm Nafka Farida and Dan Lugemwa in Kampala.
Terewode Women's Community has released new research highlighting the link between gender-based domestic violence and women seeking treatment for obstetric fistula and other childbirth-related injuries. The study reveals that many women who suffer from obstetric fistula and birth complications are also survivors of domestic violence. It emphasizes that gender-based violence perpetuates fistula cases, hinders the restoration of dignity and productivity for women after fistula repair, and is a setback to national efforts. We have more in this story.
Gender-based violence is perpetuating obstetric fistula cases in this country. It is frustrating national efforts to create a free fistula community in Uganda. It is a barrier to the restoration of dignity and empowerment and productivity of many of the women post-fistula repair interventions. And that's why we are here today to give it the urgency it deserves. From this study, our findings show that emotional violence was top on all forms of violence that women with fistula suffer, closely followed by sexual violence, okay, where the patient is coerced into sexual activity.
The government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Health, has done a lot of tremendous work in actually preventing and managing fistula. We need to scale up this study and ensure that we understand what happens in the whole country. We don't want the delays, the 3 delays. The delays are the ones actually that cause obstetric complications. We want our mothers to deliver in facilities. We want our mothers to attend all the 8 prescribed antenatal care. All this can be done with your support. Come to facilities when there is a problem. Good health should start with you. Even if you are feeling better, come to the facility for checkup to confirm how well your health status.
The Uganda AIDS Commission has called upon religious leaders from born-again faith to join the government of Uganda to eliminate AIDS by the set target.
Let's mobilize our people to adhere to the medication, because at the end of the day, the prayers can't work alone. Anything about HIV, you go to Ministry of Health, AIDS Control Program. What would a pastor, an apostle, a bishop be talking about HIV during that time? That's how the doctors thought. Until the great leadership that we have had said, no, HIV and AIDS is a socio-economic issue. It's a development issue.
I would say they are community leaders. They are leaders in society. The problem is not only for a certain sector of people. All Ugandans, in fact, Uganda is 80 or 95% religious. Being 95% religious, that means almost all Ugandans are religious people. And therefore, if you work with the religious people, you can fight and win any battle in this country.
However, now my appeal goes to the religious leaders whom I represent. We need to address this issue as serious, and we should take it as a matter of concern, and we use our platform to preach against it, because these people are being recruited on social media where you are not. So there is no person who comes physically to talk to your child or to talk to your sister or brother. They are recruited with on a smartphone. The issue is a smartphone. Whoever has a smartphone in their hand is a potential member of that group, either to buy or to sell.
You don't go beyond this.
Uganda is grappling with rising waste management and declining soil fertility, 2 challenges that continue to threaten public health, the environment and agricultural productivity. But a new initiative being championed in Kampala is turning this crisis into an opportunity. Gayo Uganda, with stakeholders from across the agriculture, waste management and climate sector, have convened for a co-creation workshop on zero waste and circular regenerative agriculture. The meeting aims to develop practical solutions that transform organic waste into valuable resources.
In Kampala, Uncollected organic waste is becoming a serious environmental and public health concern, affecting both busy markets and residential areas. The growing accumulation is placing increasing pressure on the city's waste management systems. However, experts suggest this challenge could be transformed into an opportunity to achieve zero waste.
We can change our city challenges of waste disposal into an opportunity that can help the farmers to produce more food, but also work on the environment.
At a co-creation workshop organized by Gayo Uganda, stakeholders explored circular regenerative agriculture, an innovative approach that converts organic waste into valuable products like compost, animal feed, and bioenergy.
And within the zero waste, we are looking at how can we manage waste quite effectively, in a sense that we are able to create green jobs, we are able to prevent open dumping, we are able to prevent any other problems, for example, air quality in our cities.
This is an opportunity that it provides, that we could use the waste that is produced in cities to provide, one, animal proteins that can be used in feeding animals, that can provide organic fertilizers that we can use on the farms if we compost it.
Participants noted that much of Uganda's organic waste is underutilized, contributing to population and greenhouse gas emissions. They emphasized the importance of linking urban waste systems with rural farming to enhance soil health and reduce dependence on chemical fertilizers.
We are really able to see that the communities understand what do they need to do in order to address issues of zero waste. So we take them through, teach them on very simple methods related to how to manage garbage.
A key outcome of the workshop was the proposed Zero Waste Kampala strategy, which focuses on waste reduction, resource recovery, and sustainable urban systems.
The Zero Waste strategy works in a way that we work with public-private partnership, and that's what we preach and that's what we urge even the KCCA or other stakeholders to implement.
Experts believe that with stronger partnerships and investment, Kampala can turn its waste crisis into an opportunity for job creation, sustainable agriculture, and climate resilience.
When you don't use Momo, you get insulted by strangers. Save yourself from insults. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
Are you a woman with a small-scale business with a dream of growing it to another level? The GROW Project is here to support you in realizing your dream.
The GROW Project is a government initiative implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and Private Sector Foundation Uganda with support from the World Bank.
We support women-owned businesses across the country to gain hands-on and business management skills through training within your location, business financing through grants and affordable loans, and infrastructure in your areas of operation to enable you to increase your productivity.
If you have a business that makes sales of up to 800,000 Uganda shillings per month, the GROW Project has the tools and resources to help you succeed. For more information, contact your district or city GROW focal person or call our toll-free line on 0800 307 777 to learn more about how you can benefit from the GROW Project's services.
The GROW Project, empowering women economically, transforming communities.
Welcome back from that break. Let's have a look now at the latest in business. Uganda's proposed national budget for the 2026-2027 financial year is projected at approximately 84.29 trillion Ugandan shillings, up from about 72 trillion Ugandan shillings in 2025-2026, signaling a significant expansion in government expenditure. The increase is largely directed toward infrastructure development, industrialization, and other strategic investments aimed at driving long-term economic transformation. However, despite this ambitious outlook, concerns persist over whether the expanded budget will effectively ease pressure on household incomes already strained by the high cost of living standards.
Growth. We're also talking about a tenfold strategy to get us to $500 billion as a country.
Government development initiatives, including farmer financing through the Agriculture Credit Facility and value addition programs, are expected to boost agriculture production, reduce post-harvest losses, and stabilize food supply over time.
Uganda as a country is building an economy anchored on the ATMs. The ATMs is agro-industrialization, tourism, minerals, including oil and gas, science, technology, innovations, etc.
Speaking during a discussion on Uganda Broadcasting Corporation Television's Behind the Headline, the State Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Henry Musasizi, emphasized infrastructure expansion and industrial growth as key drivers of economic resilience, defending continued government investment in agro-industrialization.
When you look at our budget priorities and strategy, they speak together with the NDP4 goals. You have we have just come out of elections, and there is a party which has won elections. So the party manifesto of that government, which is NRM, also informs what we do now and what we do in future.
However, panelists raised concerns that while the budget prioritizes long-term development, it may not adequately address immediate challenges such as rising food prices and the increasing cost of basic commodities.
The budget must be a document based on sound analysis and macroeconomic forecast. Do they follow that? In fact, the budget framework paper, I think, in my view, is the document that follows the law.
Shadow Minister for Finance Ibrahim Semujunganda argued that the expansion budget offers limited short-term relief to citizens grappling with unemployment and the high cost of living.
To have a target is a good thing, and I salute them that we want to grow the economy every year 10%. We want to build this economy to this number. But I have told you, one of the things they wanted to do was to bring everybody into the economy, into the money economy, to begin production, to grow.
From a civil society perspective, Julius Mukunda called for a stronger accountability, warning that corruption and inefficiency continue to undermine the effectiveness of public spending.
The pressure that every corner of this country wants something to be done now, if we can't contain that, then our ability really to focus on strategic issues is missed out. We end up actually even losing those ones that were supposed to be concentrating on.
Economist Fred Muhumuza cautioned that increased borrowing could heighten debt servicing pressures with potential long-term implications for taxation and overall household welfare.
The government budget has roles it plays. One is to enable the private sector or disable. Two, it is to help households realize their goals of welfare improvements, which you can do through roads, hospitals, education.
Panelists also called for more targeted agriculture interventions, including subsidies, improved extension services, and better market access to reduce production costs and enhance food affordability.
Our investment in agriculture is aimed at transforming those who are still in subsistence agriculture into commercial. How? Support them to add value, give them fertilizers, give them the water for irrigation, and give them the extension services.
For UBC News, I am Sudat Kaye.
Uganda has taken a step toward expanding women's participation in the economy following a new partnership between the UN Women and Equity Bank Uganda Limited aimed at improving financial inclusion and economic empowerment for women.
The two have signed a 2-year collaboration agreement in Kampala that will focus on increasing women's access to financial services, strengthening business skills and promoting sustainable livelihoods, particularly amongst underserved communities. Under the arrangement, the partners will roll out programs targeting financial literacy, entrepreneurship and digital inclusion, alongside expanding access to affordable credit and banking services.
Assets in Uganda are majorly owned by men in the country, so women do not have the autonomy to make such decisions when it comes to borrowing.
Officials say that the partnership reflects a growing shift towards private sector-led interventions in addressing gender inequality within Uganda's economy. Speaking during the signing, UN Women Deputy Country Representative Adekemi Ndieli said that the collaboration is designed to equip women with tools and opportunities to participate more meaningfully in economic growth.
Majority of women that work within the economic sector are in the informal sector, with lack of protection, lack of access to capital, economic opportunities to really unlock their potential and build their resilience against shocks.
The agreement outlines key areas of cooperation, including support for women-led agribusinesses, expansion of digital banking solutions, and strengthening resilience in vulnerable communities. Both institutions will implement the initiative through a joint work plan with defined targets and measurable outcomes.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And finally, let's have a look at sports news. Kampala University has flagged off a Ugandan kickboxer Shake Mubiru to Thailand for advanced training and a preparatory fight. Mubiru is gearing up for a high-profile international bout against European champion Billy Hinch from the United Kingdom. The fight will headline the Rising Warriors Against Sickle Cell Anemia 2026 event scheduled for June 27th at Lugogo Hockey Grounds. The event also doubles for sports and health advocacy, promoting awareness and testing for the sickle cell trait among young people. The day will begin with a morning blood run against sickle cell anemia, followed by a series of international bouts in boxing, kickboxing and mixed martial arts featuring Ugandan fighters against counterparts from the United Kingdom. 5 international fights are lined up.
And Brafai to flag me off for my training in Fight House, Thailand. That's Singbuli, where I'll be in a camp to train for my upcoming fight on 27th June against Billy Inch from Lincoln Factory, that's UK, on the sickle cell fight. That's Rising Warriors against sickle cell. So I'm prepared and I'm going for extra training and extra touch with my coach Sean Douglas so that I can be ready for my fight come 27th June. So all is set. I'll be in a good camp, in good hands, no distraction, nothing, but just preparation.
Some of you are not used to kickboxing. It is one of the very serious games upcoming, which young men should also embrace. Shaki has already embraced it, and it has taken him that far. But embracing kickboxing did not stop him getting his degree from Kampala University, like so many others. So we are here training people, energizing them, interesting them in the use of their bodies, their limbs, in the martial arts, in everything.
From the Ministry of Health, statistics show that
around 25,000 to 30,000 children are born annually with sickle cell anemia in Uganda, and 80% of them die before the age of 5. Now that is very sad, and we have to do something about it. So it is known that people, Ugandans specifically, love sporting activities. So we thought we would tap into the love of Ugandans for sports and create a system whereby we give out messages of health promotion through sporting activities. Now, in this case, we are having a fight between Uganda and UK. It is, we are going to have 5 fighters from UK versing the best in Uganda, and Shaki is the main card. And the real reason for the fight is to create awareness about prevention of sickle cell anemia. We are encouraging people to test for the sickle cell trait before having children.
And good luck to Shaki Mubiro as he goes to Thailand for his training there. And of course, that is in preparation for his upcoming fight against the European champion. And that story brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for having kept us company. I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night.